Mwah.
What's up, guys? I'm Jojo. Tolerance. The free pass to be intolerant. The content of this video is quite sad and unfortunate, honestly. But it's becoming more and more common, and people all over the political spectrum are waking up to it. What am I talking about? To be blunt, I'm talking about a gigantic number of those on the left claiming to be tolerant, inclusive, and all about peace and love, when in fact they are the direct opposite. Let's take a look. Here's a man named Peterson, Professor Jordan Peterson. Get it? Moving on. Mr. Peterson has been catching absolute hell for the last year and a half, give or take a couple of months, for doing nothing wrong whatsoever. All he did was say that he's against the government demanding its citizens to say certain words, which comes in the form of Bill C-16. A bill that deems using wrong pronouns for transgender people is a hate crime, in which you can be fined and at worst can cause people to be indirectly imprisoned, which is asinine. A bill thought up by the Canadian government, which comes as no surprise that Canada would be the country to do this. Prior to that, Canada has also made it a law for parents to engage in government-mandated child abuse. Yes, I'm purposely and intentionally saying it this way. So anyway, and for parents who don't partake in such abuse, well, they can have their children taken away. Now, it takes a while for it to get to that point, and the way they worded it kind of makes it seem like that's not the case, but when you read more, that is the case. It is. But that's a subject I'll tackle within the next few weeks. Don't worry, I'll have facts to back up my point for those of you triggered right now. Now then, back to Mr. Peterson. So because he was worried about a law like this being put into action, which he very well should have been worried about some mess like that being put into law, he expressed those concerns. And what happened to him because of that? He was called hateful, he was called homophobic, he was called part of the alt-right, which is a lie. He was deemed to be a man who incites hate, violence, bigotry, etc., etc. None of that garbage about him is true based on anything that he said. And so for the next year and some months, our self-proclaimed, tolerant, loving, anti-bullying, progressive moral superiors, well, they decided to lie about Mr. Peterson, slander him, be pretty darn hateful towards him, try to bully him, and show an undeniable intolerance toward him. You know, pretty much being everything they claim to stand against, which is a very common theme I see repeated without end among that crowd. Now, I know it's not all progressives, but I'm giving the benefit of the doubt here, because in my experience, 100% of the time in the last 12 years, that's been the case. 100% of the time. I'm waiting for a decent progressive. I'm waiting. But again, that's another story that I'll tackle later. Which brings me to last week. Professor Jordan Peterson was giving a lecture and having a dialogue with Dr. Bruce Party, I think that's how you pronounce that, and were disrupted by this screaming idiot talking about things he evidently knows nothing about, along with these two sickly looking bimbos. Then they were interrupted by people banging on the windows. Correction. Interrupted by people constantly banging on the windows like a bunch of rabid imbeciles. It doesn't end there though. Apparently some very stupid woman hit the window so hard that she broke it, but also managed to injure herself in the process. Very good. and then she tried to get away. Thankfully, she was caught and arrested, but not before the crazy fool bit a police officer and then proceeded to attempt to kick out the windows of the police car. Absolutely bonkers. And that's still not the worst part. Officers found that the woman was carrying a garrote. This sicko actually brought a garrote to that pathetic protest. I share Mr. Peterson's sentiment. What the heck was going through this woman's mind? For those who may not know, a garrote is a weapon used to strangle people. So again, who is this woman planning on using that on? And yet and still, that's not all. Some of the moronic protesters decided to use garbage containers to block exit doors, and a guy yells, I quote, "Lock 'em in and burn it down," unquote, and then laughs about it. How in the heck can anybody be okay with this? How can this be okay? Blocking exit doors with garbage containers or anything else when people are inside should be a darn crime. This is bullcrap. How is any of this mess legal? Oh wait, we are talking about Canada here, and a country that prides itself on government-mandated child abuse has already abandoned their morals and ethics. Sad and shameful. Speaking of shame, these protesters here are waiting for people to leave the lecture so they can shout at them. The same darn group of pansies who cry and have mental meltdowns because they need safe spaces from words from two speakers. Oftentimes they require these safe spaces just from one speaker, to which they are always granted. But now they are the very same group who gathers together and try to intimidate people they don't agree with, and yet they claim to be the victims of harassment and bullying. So here they are yelling and screaming at people who wanted to listen to the lecture in an attempt to intimidate them and shame them. But later they'll be crying about how they need a safe space from harmful words or different opinions. Absolutely pathetic. Man, where do these nut jobs come from? You get rid of one tin hat and then 20 more of the loony bins show up. This mess is insane. I wish I could jump from this darn screen, round up all of these nutty fools, and then throw them in a darn psych ward. This is pathetic. Don't do that. Bill Balloon, shut up and get out of the camera. So, as I was... Don't do that. I said shut up and get out of the camera. Now then, back to the topic. Where is the love, tolerance, peace, and inclusion the progressive left loves to constantly preach about? Is non-existent among the majority of them. So the question is, why do they get a free pass to be some of the most hateful, sexist, racist, bigoted people on the planet with little to no consequences at all? It's pretty simple. Just identify as being a marginalized group and the free pass to hate and violence is yours. But every now and then, you may get arrested if you break things or attack people, like the crazy chick. But that's rare, so be as horrible as you like. Man, absolutely ridiculous. And yet here we are. On a good note, Mr. Peterson is feeling a lot better now, and his health is improving. Unfortunately, his health declined during a large portion of this ordeal, with the media and some of everyone else lying on him, dragging his name through the mud and trying to bully him. But he's overcoming it though, and his health is improving a lot. Thank God for that. The other good thing is he's been learning the tactics of the liars and bullies trying to make him look bad. And he's gotten really good at dealing with them without having to verbally rip them to shreds, like I would do. I do so in a very blunt but gentle way, of course. I really like Mr. Peterson's approach though, and I'm happy he's doing a lot better physically, mentally, and emotionally. And I'm also happy to see that the people constantly trying to drag him down are being seen by more and more people for the lying, sexist bigots that they are. Well done, Mr. Peterson. Very well done. And I wish you the best in all that you do. Well, that's it for today, folks. If you liked the video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. If you don't like it, feel free to hit the dislike button. Let me know your thoughts about the ordeal in the comments, and also let me know if I missed anything or got anything wrong. See you later. God bless.